In this particular lecture, we will study how to calculate the ordinates of the normal probability curve. For understanding this concept, consider this data in which height of the students is given and the number of frequency is given. For finding the ordinates of the normal probability curve, we have to follow the few steps. First, calculate the mean and the standard deviation of the given data. Second step, find the standard normal variate corresponding to the lower limits of each class interval, that is Zi equal to xi dash minus mu divided by sigma. Here the xi dash is the lower bound of the particular class interval. For example, see in this particular class, the lower bound is 144.55. Similarly, in this class, the lower bound is 154.55. The third step towards the finding of the ordinates of the normal probability curve is find the ordinates corresponding to the Zi, which we already calculated in the previous step for the different class intervals by using this formula. Here, the small n is the total number of frequency. If z is negative, phi of minus z is equal to phi of z due to the symmetry of the distribution. For the data involving the class interval, the mean of the data is given by this quantity, where n is a summation of fi, where xi is the midpoint of the class interval, and the standard deviation is given by this quantity. Now see, this class interval is given to us, this frequency is given to us. For the first class interval, the midpoint xi is given by this quantity. Therefore, xi into f of I is equal to this quantity, and xi minus x bar ka whole square into f of I for this particular class interval is given by this quantity. Similarly, we will calculate these things for the other class intervals also. Now see, for finding out the mean, we need to find out summing over xi fi, and for finding out the standard deviation, we need a sum of xi minus x bar ka whole square into f of I, which is given by this quantity. And for finding out the small n, we need sum of fi's, which is given by this quantity. Therefore, the mean is given by this quantity. Similarly, the standard deviation is equal to this quantity. Now, for calculating the ordinates, we need a Zi corresponding to a different class intervals. Here we will use xi dash. It means a lower bound of the ith class. Therefore, corresponding to a different classes, the lower bound is given by this. For this particular class, the lower bound is 149.55. Similarly, for this class interval, the lower bound is given this quantity 154.55. Similarly, we can calculate the lower bound for all the classes. Now, calculating the Zi's by using this formula. So, for this particular class, the Zi is given by this quantity, lower bound minus mean divided by standard deviation. We will get this thing. Similarly, we can get for the other classes also. Now, in the next column, we will calculate the small phi of Z, which will be calculated from the table. We will see the value of 3.46 and note the value of phi of Z. Here the Z is minus 3.46. As I already told you that if it is a negative Z, then just make it positive by writing small phi of minus Z equal to phi of Z because of the symmetry of the normal distribution. Similarly, we can calculate the value of 2.16. We will see the value of phi of Z, where Z is equal to 2.61 from the table. For finding out the value of small phi of Z, we need a table for the ordinates of the standard normal variable. See, in this column, here in this particular table, tau is given, but we are using Z in place of tau in our practical. If we find out the value of 2.61, here we will get the value of Z is equal to 2.61, and the corresponding value of small phi of Z is given by this quantity. In the next column, we will calculate the ordinates. this by using the formula n upon of sigma into a phi of z, which we already calculated in the previous column here. N by sigma, we know that the total number of frequency and the standard deviation of the data. Then we can calculate the ordinates corresponding to the different values of small phi of z. For this particular class of interval, the small phi of z is given by this quantity and multiply by with the n by sigma, we will get this. Similarly, we can calculate for the other also. This will be the desired results. In this particular lecture, we studied how to find out the ordinates of the normal probability curve. Thank you for watching this lecture. I hope you will get how to find out the ordinate of the normal probability curve.